Hello to all my listeners. I got today Yael Ehrlich. I hope I pronounced it a little bit okay. I do
That
my
was great.
best. And we're going to talk today about the power of Lego serious play. That, of course, my people know how to use it in Agile, as we are an Agile LSP training organization. But I found Yael, and she has this wonderful thing she shows on LinkedIn, and beautiful work that she's doing there. And I asked her if she wants to be in our vlog as well. And we will talk about the power of LSP on maybe a place that you don't expect it, how you can make like almost the impossible conversations possible with LSP. And I'm really looking forward to what Yael has to tell us in this podcast. But I'm also curious to who are you, where you're from, where did your cradle stand? Can you tell a little bit first about yourself, Yael?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me, Martin. It's a pleasure. And I facilitate Lego Series Play with my colleague Elinor Marine, and we are both located in Israel. We did not get our training here because there are none, but we traveled to learn about it. And I got there. I'm a graphic designer and an art director. I've been so for ages, and I work in the biggest strategy and branding companies in Israel. And I always was very, very frustrated with the system of organizations. Endless meetings. I really remember in my body the feeling of knowing how much work I have to do and how much time I'm wasting in a meeting
Mm.
until I quit and I started learning. I did a master's degree in design innovation, and then I learned how many different methodologies are there to regular work, to the work we do, and how many different ways there are to approach brainstorming, creative thinking, strategy planning, everything.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated by it, and that's how I got to Lego Series Play, which completely blew my mind. And ever since, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I learned a lot of possibilities as well. And now I sometimes ask to my clients, did you try already to put sticky notes on the wall? And they go like, yeah. So do you tried something like canoeing and doing team building? Yeah. And then I say, did you call one of the big five, Deloitte or one of the others, PwC? And they go like, no. I said, call them first because this is a very powerful tool to use. And I'm glad that even in your neck of the woods, they say it's a very powerful tool. Cool. And then what
Yeah.
happened then?
So me and Eleanor, we started talking about it. Each one of us comes from a different background, but this frustration is something that we know well, and we started to write about it and talk about it. And it's not Lego Series Play is not very common in Israel, so there's a lot of interest and query about it, which is really nice and good for us. And we started with meeting with organization and people, and it's very interesting because Israel is a very, very polarized community. It's not a community, it's country, but it's very polarized in every subject, whether it's political or religious or racial. And we always say as facilitators that the Lego Series Play helps to talk about the elephant in the room. But in our case, from my perspective, there's huge, even if organizational wise everything is perfect, there will be always either a religious or a ethnic or educational or a racial elephant in the room, and it's really interesting to deal with it via LSP.
How does that work then? How can you deal with that? How is it on your side? How do you deal with the elephant in the room?
Well, I think there are two perspectives of it. First of all, I get to meet a lot of people that are so different from me, whether they are Muslims or they are Orthodox Jews, really, I had the privilege to meet like all parts of the Israeli society during the time that I facilitate. And the fact that the Lego enables a different kind of conversation helps them to rise above it. And for me, I feel like I have the huge privilege. Everybody is standing on a different platform, has a different role, holding a different flag in hand. And
Yeah.
for me and for Elinor as facilitators, we have the privilege to gather them around a similar idea, even if it's something very tiny. But the privilege to help them for a brief moment, as it may be, to think the same or to join around a similar cause, that's a huge privilege for us.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my mentors in life said, we very often say that, oh, I understand what you mean. And what we should say, he said, what we should say is, I hear what you say and I understand what I mean with it. And
Perfect.
for me, it is super interesting to see with Lego that when I build it, that idea that I have that I want to explain at once is there for people to see and to ask questions about it. And I think when you have that model outside of you and people start talking about that model, it's much less personal. It's like a third person in the room that you talk about. And I think it's a very good de-escalating model if it is in a very polarized society as yours, or if it is in an organization where they have to figure out what is the best step now to take. And like we maybe know our strategy, but how do we get there? I think in many companies, people are very polarized at that moment as well. They go, we have to go to the left. No, we have to go to the right. And I think it's a metaphor for what's happening in your side.
Absolutely. And the way that Lego Serious Play helps people, what you said, to talk about something that is outside of them.
Yeah.
As you probably know, there's a war going on in Israel. So the tension level is very, very high.
Yeah.
The stress level is somewhere here. You can't see it because it's so high. And Lego helps people manifestate ideas outside of their bodies, and so it reduces the level of stress because you can talk about it. And when you try to talk about it, I don't know, in your coffee break, everything escalates really quickly because there are so many different opinions and so much rage and frustration from the situation. And now we can talk in a normal way and through play, and maybe we'll learn something, and maybe, we'll discover we think a bit different than what we believe. And that's really inspiring for me.
Beautiful. Have you a concrete example that you can share with us how you did that?
Well, we facilitated a workshop for an NGO that works with entrepreneur women, both Muslim and Jewish, from Jerusalem.
Okay.
And for me, I was very, very, afraid to meet Orthodox Jewish women and Orthodox Muslim women in the same room in the midst of war. I was scared from how it will be and what will come up. And it was a vision workshop. We talked about building a vision for small business owners. And it was, what was the most amazing thing is that during the workshop, these women allowed themselves to dream beyond what is, let's say, socially acceptable in where they come from. There was this Muslim woman, and she built models of her business developing over the years, and her husband was always there. And it's an issue in the Muslim society. It's a very patriarchal society, and the man controls the family. And in the end, she allowed herself to say that she never wanted to get married, and that she wants to get rid of him, and that she knows that it will never happen, but now she knows where her business is going and what it's purpose is beyond, making money and supporting your family. It's her way to define herself in a very patriarchal society. And the fact that Lego allowed her to manifest this idea and say it out loud is a good example, I think, of it.
Yeah. Wow. Nice. Nice. Can you show us a little bit of the work that you have done before? Because I asked you, do you have some models? Can you take us with that?
Yeah, well, I build the models especially for
Yeah.
that. And this is what I talked about before. This is the community we live in.
Oh, wow.
Everybody is in different direction, in different colors, with a different hat. Oh, sorry, holding his flag, his or hers. I'm right. I know what's good flag. So part of it is very colorful and very interesting, but it's really hard to have a conversation and to talk like that. And that's what I said I'm very privileged to do, is to try to join them around a certain idea, even if it's for a brief moment.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because this happens in our society. There's a lot of demonstration going on, pro-war, against war, against the government, pro the government. But the fact that I can allow for a short moment for people to join around a similar cause is what I like about what I do. And it really connects also to agile, because the ability to, we live in a country that changes constantly. Every day there's something new.
Yes.
So I think we can write a book about agile.
Yeah, and how to adapt to constant change. And it's not a question if you want to embrace change. It's staying alive to embrace change, I think, in your country. What I like on your models is that I see that first model that you showed also in organizations, that people are holding their flag and wanting to go for something. I think that is also their positive attitude. What I always try to look, what is the reason why you do it? I don't say they do it always on a positive way, but they have a positive intention. And Lego Series Play, like in your second model, can create also that there is a consensus about what we want to achieve and how we want to achieve it, because we have this new insights that we get from playing with Lego. Right? It sounds always just very playful, but I think it is so much more than that. And I think your second model is showing that so much, that yes, they're all still different, and it's not only happiness that I think the flag pink is showing, but it's also, okay, we can agree on this part. And I think finding agreements on small parts is always something that brings us one step further.
I think that's the baseline of Lego Series Play. I mean, we almost always go from the individual model to a joint model or a joint landscape. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And it's like a very basic idea, but it always amazes me how complicated it is, this little shift from me to us
Yeah.
in the workshops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's nice said. And it sounds like a little shift, but I think it's a huge step.
Huge.
Right. Yeah. What?
And the polarized the room, and here, I mean, it's polarized in a very violent way. The most impressive the result is.
You had a time that you were not LSP, then you trained it, and now you do this. How much time do you spend on Lego Serious Play in your day-to-day life? Because you didn't, then you did the course. When did you do the course? And then you're now doing this?
2.5 years ago, I did it, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly. And I was already, before that, I was facilitating design thinking and sprints.
Yeah.
So I did not come to it, carte blanche. I already had I worked with the organization, and I had my clients.
Yeah.
And then the thing about LSP for me at least, is that I don't stop to be amazed by it. So I talk about it all the time.
Already
Everybody,
for 2.5 years. For two and a half
every time
years, you're
someone asks
amazed.
me, what are you doing? I start like giving them a lecture. What do you do for a living? You know, my daughter's friend's parents.
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about it. So that's what I do. I talk about it. So how much I do Lego? Well, as a freelancer or independent business owner, Eleanor and myself, most of our work is to talk about it. We talk about it in LinkedIn and we talk about it with colleagues. How much do we actually facilitate workshop? Unfortunately, I would have to say it's a 70-30.
Wow, that's good. That's a good
Yeah,
start, right?
yeah. We still have to talk about it because it's not known in Israel, and we have, well, every Lego Series Play facilitator, I think, have to cross the barrier to get people to know that it's not just play. And, well, it is just play, but the power of play is something people don't recognize, especially in dignified organization.
Yeah.
So
But
that's one challenge that we deal with. And another challenge that we deal with, I think, is the, let's call it, we have to do some, in the Middle East and in Israel, we don't have time. That maybe connects to agile as well. We don't sit on things. We don't wait to see how it develops. Everything has to be snap, quick.
yeah,
And there's a and then to come with a minimum 3 hours workshop that, to convince organization to trust the process, and that's hard for us.
yeah. It's that is, I think, for a lot of organizations as well, a difficult thing, to straight away buy in something that takes 3 hours. We're not sure what the outcome is. We are in a hurry. We feel the pressure of the backlog. We feel the pressure of our clients and everything else. And then we almost would choose again for the same thing that we tried over and over again and expecting a different result, what Einstein called the principle of insanity.
Yeah.
But for me, that's an interesting thing. How do you take clients now with it, that they say, okay, let's try this, and how do they react afterwards? Are they like then returning clients or not? So first question, how do you I don't know, convince clients that they do it, and are they then coming back? I'm sure a lot of new LSP people are curious to that.
Well, I have to be completely honest and to say that that is a point I haven't yet figured out. As I said earlier, I'm very passionate about it. So when they approach me, I try to explain what is the added value of
Yeah,
playfulness, of talk, of how impactful can a 3 hour workshop or more, hopefully, can be. And I give examples from previous workshop, how in a 3 hour workshop, the lonely guy, the employee that did not talk and did not participate, built like the most complex Lego model within the whole story. That's my selling point.
yeah.
I often talk about the knowledge in the room and the
Mm.
fact that how much unused knowledge an organization have with the regular working methods of meetings, Zooms, brainstorming, strategy, and such. So I think that's my selling point.
That's
And
great.
what?
That's a bit what Curtis said as well in one of the other vlogs. I talked with Curtis Isiaki, and he said we foster the collective genius in the room, and I think that is really
I
nice. We
like
let that
that.
come. But you talked about the lonely guy, and of course, as LSP, and you did the training. I also know what's the lonely guy. Could you explain to people who don't know what LSP is, what the lonely guy is?
Yeah,
What is it
sure.
for you, I would say?
For me, I remember myself being the lonely guy because in every organization, in every meeting, I think about 20% of the knowledge in the room is manifested because everybody knows that there's a long meeting. The let's say the leaders of the team, not necessarily like the manager or the boss, but the informal leader of the team, they shout and scream which idea is better, and the rest of us are, I don't know, playing Candy Crush in our phone under the table and waiting for the meeting to be over. Yeah, exactly. And texting each other like, oh, how long is it going to take? And there's 80% or 70% of people in the room that has knowledge, certain knowledge, good, bad, that's other question, but this knowledge is not coming across. And,
Yeah.
and that's the best case, because in the worst case, there's always the lonely guy, the guy that doesn't say a word, he doesn't even play Candy Crush. His knowledge is silent. You don't know what he knows, what he doesn't know, or she, of course, knows, doesn't know. And the magic of Lego series play is that it helps this lonely guy to come forward and bring their knowledge, for me at least.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think for me the lonely guy is this, and I can also imagine, or I noticed that some people, if you would ask them, they would have no idea. They are blocked somehow through years of not be able to speak. They also cannot find it by themselves just like that, but by opening up that collective genius and that spark of seeing other people doing in the team, getting stuff done. It's like with the Lego, they can find the words to tell us. So if you would ask them before, yeah, for me, it's always, I always think the genius will say, oh, I can do that because it's normal. And when somebody thinks it's normal, there's a super interesting process behind it. And when they use Lego, they very often, you see them like blossom and develop, but also find the words for it, because for them, it's already totally integrated. It's clear. There's no question. And by building it, you elicit almost the possibility of speech. It's not that they could not speak before, but then they can bring their genius to the room and spread it out with all the others. And for me, that's also a lonely guy. And lonely
Yeah,
guy is a lonely figure of Lego, right? It's
yeah, of
not
course.
male or female.
They discover what they know. Like
Yes.
there's this matrix of the Johari window, I think it's
Yeah.
called. What I know, what I know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And in a LSP workshop, you discover stuff you didn't know you knew. So
Yeah.
complicated to say it in English. Wow.
But I think that is the power, right? That is also the value of what we deliver to others.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and sometimes, like I always say, you open a can of worms or you open a can of caviar. You just don't know until you open the can. And I
Yeah.
think Lego opens up a can. If you like it or not, it's gonna show you what's inside.
Yeah, it enables a conversation about what's in the box,
Yeah,
for starters. And everybody in the room takes part in this conversation, because no one shouts and no one plays Candy Crush, for that matter.
yeah. And one of the things that I always think is super powerful, if you hold up your second building, like the one with the pink flags, and you would hold up this one, and I would hold up this one. Yeah, yeah. You cannot say now, oh, what Martijn said, because everybody will notice they're not the same. And I think that is so powerful that it always elicits. And when somebody builds a model, they normally want to talk about their model as well. So that is one of the things that you give the lonely person, the lonely figure, the lonely guy, and a voice. Very
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
What is
It's not
some?
only giving him a voice, but it allowing everyone else in the room to hear what he or she says.
Yeah, yeah, and I think there's true value for organizations, but also for nations. There's a true value for a group of people that do something together, or maybe gonna do a thing together. Perfect.
Absolutely.
That's nice. What is something you want to share with us in the community of Lego Series Play people? What do you want to share with us that we need to know, otherwise we cannot sleep tonight?
Oh, wow. That's a question I did not prepare for then. Let me think about it for a second. I think, wow, there are so many things. Now I have to choose.
It's like Lego, you have to choose.
I think that the most interesting thing I have to share is the power of play in wartime.
The power of
Because
play in wartime. Yeah.
when we arrive at an organization, at a team that works together, we see it immediately. We see that there's this invisible tension in the room. And it amazes me how much Lego and play can take some of that away
Yeah. Beautiful.
immediately.
Yeah.
Like even in the skill building, you see how it fades away. Some of it, not all of it. I wish I could take all of it from people, but I can't. We're only two women.
But not, you are so much more than just two women, Yael. You're making first steps, and that is helping. For me, if I
Thank
think
you.
about our talk, you opened up a window of Lego Series Play again to see a whole new insight and a whole new side of people. And
Wow, thank you.
what I really enjoyed in this talk is that even if it sounds like a very small little duck, and it looks maybe very simple as a little duck, the story of the duck in Lego about the quality, that the son had to pick up the load of Lego of the ducks that they painted back to paint them over again because they wanted enough layers so it would stay. That story of quality, I think you embrace that, the quality of Lego Series Play, and spread it out. And I'm really convinced that every step you take and every time you touch somebody with Lego Series Play, you make the world a little bit better. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. And thank you for having me and reassuring again what I think about the LSP community worldwide. It's amazing. You know that after October 7th, the first colleague that reached out for me in my LinkedIn inbox was our colleague. I'm sure you follow her, Ariane Hecker, and she was the first one that says, "Yael, are you okay?" And the fact that I've never met her in person, I know her only via the amazing work she does on LinkedIn, and the way you reach out, and the power of this community never stops to amaze me. And so thank you for that, and thank you for letting me speak here. It's amazing.
You do amazing stuff, and that's why I'm honored to have you in my flock. For everybody who's watching this, go to LinkedIn, see the story she has. It's always but the most I've seen is in Hebrew, but LinkedIn has a perfect solution. They say translate, and it comes in your language that you're preferred. What I think is amazing already. But you do a lot of good work. And yes, we have a community of people who understand the power of play and that it is so much more than just play. And what you do is also so much more than just two women. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin.